Okay, everyone, we're gonna get started in a moment, so.
How's everyone's con going?
How's everybody dealing with the incredibly hot Georgia heat?
Bold of you to assume.
It's the humidity will get you.
We're from New York, so we're weaklings.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get right into it. My name is Marley, and I am with the channel Frederator Network, and I am here with...
Nick Reed. I'm also here with the Channel Frederator Network. How many of you all know Frederator? You do? You know, can you name a few of the things that we've produced? Okay.
No Castlevania fans in the audience? There we go. That's us too. You probably wouldn't know it with all like the blood and gore and stuff, though.
But we
Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh, Fairly Odd Parents, yeah, for
Adventure
sure.
Time.
All the blood and gore and Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah.
Shrek 4.
Yeah. We had nothing to do with that. Yeah,
What about
but
Shrek 5?
Shrek 5?
Yeah.
You signed
no.
the NDA.
But me and Nick are talent managers with the network. And what some of you might not know is that in addition to all the animated content we create, Frederator is also involved in the YouTube space with a lot of great content creators in various communities like animation and commentary and gaming and so on and so forth. And it's kind of our job to help manage them and help them produce content.
Yeah. So, without further ado, we're going to introduce our amazing talent that we have up here.
But first, we're going to play a little video of all of them, and that I'm sure they are all super looking forward to seeing.
We haven't seen this,
We
so
we don't know what they chose.
I'm shook.
It's like yearbook pictures.
Stop.
Welcome back to the Roundtable.
Beep, 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 beep. Have you heard the news? The cartoon news?
I can do anything SpongeBob can do.
Let me fill you in on what's been happening.
Okay, that's enough ego boosting for them. On to the juicy stories. I lived on the 8th floor, so cart me up, baby. BTS, you know BTS. Have you listened to their new album?
Hello everyone and welcome to TOON Rooms, the show that goes over shows both old and new to give you guys the answers to questions you've always asked. And today I'm going to be going over the many bits of symbolism scattered throughout the Steven Universe episode, Change Your Mind.
I find it interesting when we think of adult animation, it usually goes towards comedy, when animation in itself is very limitless in terms of what you can portray and show on a screen.
This is one of the most requested things I've been asked to check out. To which I say to you all, how dare you?
What the hell is this?
Yeah, these are panelists. We have the round table, or two people from the round table, Tom and Kevin.
And from the channel Saberspark, we've got Steven/Saberspark.
Next to him, we have Rose of Rose's Universe.
From the channel Toon Ruins, Leah.
And last but not least, we have Chili Panda. Let's get into it.
Yeah, all right. So, yeah, we'll jump right in. Let me flip my program here. So, how did you guys all get started or decide to get started? What did you do?
Well, after I failed my promising career of becoming a political scientist, it didn't go well. I decided to be a lifeguard, then a copier salesman, and I got fired and became a copier salesman again. I got fired again. I was a barista, and when I was making coffee at Starbucks, I discovered a lot of cool people, and my coworkers and I talked about cartoons a lot, and I'm like, you should take another crack at this YouTube stuff, and talked about just video essays about cartoons, and here I am. I fell down every single branch of that tree to get here.
So YouTube was just this thing that you were like, oh, this is works.
I think a lot of us get into it through a hobby.
Yes.
Like, can you all agree on that?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
No, very rarely will you meet someone who's like, oh, I want to be a professional YouTuber. I mean, good gumption, go for it. It might work. But a lot of us is like, I got this on the side and try it as a hobby. Mm-hmm. Like for you all, when did it dawn on you where you're like, hey, I think I got something here?
I mean, the Roundtable is a very peculiar story. So,
Mine is too.
We'll get into
I
it.
just
We
kinda
got an
hopped
hour.
on.
I mean, what happened with us, So basically, throughout high school, I would watch Rebel Taxi, Pan Pizza. He's also at MomoCon, and like a few other like cartoon YouTube reviewers. But it was a very small community compared to like what it is now. Like there's even like a ton of content creators like in the audience. You guys know who you are, and I love you. But yeah, around like 2015, I've always been editing, but like on my old Tumblr, I would just write a bunch of Gravity Falls theories because Gravity Falls is one of my favorite cartoons. So just when it was airing, I had just like a lot of ideas, but I never put it into video form. And a little bit after Gravity Falls ended, I was encouraged by a friend to like try like making YouTube videos again because I had a YouTube channel before, but it wasn't like what I was doing now. It was more just like edits, and I had like a smaller following. Like I had a channel with like 1,000 or like 2,000 subscribers. So I just made like a Steven Universe theory. At the time, I only had like a laptop that was supposed to be for college, and like I recorded audio off my iPhone, so it didn't sound that great. But I made it in like a day, and I just posted it. I made like 2 or 3 others, but I wasn't really like paying attention to it. And then like a few days later, my one friend was like, "Hey, your video's doing like kind of well." I'm like, "Oh, how many views does it have?" And he's like, 30,000. I'm like, what? And then literally like the next day, it was like 100,000, and the other videos like followed. So I just kept at it. Then like literally within like 2 weeks of doing this, I was partnered with Frederator and like monetized. And like just from the jump, I knew I wanted this channel to be like in a creative space for multiple people. And give other people voices. So originally I was actually doing it with some online friends who live in different states, but essentially they just were preoccupied with college or work, just other things. So, but I knew both Tom and Shane, and Shane's not at the con yet, but he just landed, so he'll be around the con like tonight, Saturday, Sunday. But Shane's actually a funny story. But with Tom, he was making YouTube videos, and I was like, oh, this format might work with cartoons. So I hit Tom up, and he started like doing that slowly, like more and more, to like it became his full-time job.
Yeah, it's funny because I always wanted to go into entertainment, and then like I was originally going to school or like going through training to become a pro wrestler, and then I dropped out because I wanted to do something that was more creatively fulfilling, and then I was going to go to art school, but art school is expensive and also not really worth the money, so I didn't really want to go through with that. And then I happened to just start doing YouTube as a creative outlet, and then Kevin just blew up out of nowhere, and here I have this opportunity to be here in front of all of you people. So,
and with Shane, the funny story was Shane made a joke video. Okay, so actually, wait, I had no idea it was Shane. It was a video I recommended, like Steven Universe theory, Steven's true mother. And the theory, the thumbnail was like this, like very like purposely poorly edited thumbnail of like a bunch of arrows pointing to Jasper and Steven. And then I watch it, and I'm like, is this Shane? So then I texted him, I'm like, I saw your Steven Universe video. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't want to like send it to you, so I was just hoping you were just gonna see it. And I was like, well, are you gonna make more? And that was that.
So it seems that a lot of y'all, your YouTube was born out of course, your hobbies, but also the fandoms that you were that you were a fan of. Is it the same way that you, Rose and Leah, that your channels were born?
I mean, for me, I really started doing it more in summer of 2016 during the Summer of Steven event, where like a new Steven Universe episode was like airing every single day. Mm-hmm. And I was actually watching like the Roundtable and like other Steven Universe content creators. So I was just like, oh, I'll just make like a couple videos just to like for fun and just to have my thoughts on what's going on in the episodes. And I think the first one that blew up for me was like who Pearl belonged to, like White Diamond or Pink Diamond, and that video like blew up and had over like 100,000 views. And I think you actually commented on that video, and I was just like, the Roundtable commented on my video. And now it's like, I'm like sitting up here on a panel with you, and like we're friends and we talk, and it's like, kind of crazy how that all happened. But yeah, I mean, like we inspire each other, and and then ultimately we can, kind of just meet up at some point in time and be on a panel together and go to a con together and, talk to you guys, which is all pretty cool.
Yeah, my experience is kind of the same, except that my channel was born from making really bad AMVs. Okay, so just to give you an idea of how bad these were, it was a Naruto AMV, my first one that I made, and guess what band it was from?
Lincoln Park, yeah.
It was Lincoln Park Numb.
As is
Classic.
Iconic.
And it was called the Tailed Beasts AMV. So that was like my first video that blew up. And then I also made the Fullmetal Alchemist Crack series, which I don't know if you guys have seen that one. There's 2 videos to it. It's probably copyright stricken by now, but you know, it's been up for like 5 years now. But my YouTube career didn't really start until about 2 years ago. And the video that I made that blew up was if Pearl shattered Pink Diamond or not. And the reason why I made that theory was because, funny enough, I didn't want people to like watch it. It was more like I got tired of explaining to my friends why I thought Pearl shattered Pink Diamond. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a video. And so whenever somebody asks me, I don't need to type out this essay to send to them. I could just send them this video. And then I woke up the next morning and it was like at 100,000 views, and I was like, what happened? I literally went to sleep for like 8 hours. I come back and this video is now blown up. So I just kind of continued with that, with theories and then episode reviews. My best friend Laura and I have a podcast where we review all of the Steven Universe episodes right after we come out. And yeah, it's a really great experience, and that's just how it started. I didn't really plan on going anywhere with it, but here we are.
And Chili, your channel is different in that maybe it's not born out of fandom, but what was your channel born out of?
Oh, is this working? Okay, so when I was in college, I was going through a dark time. And I didn't know what I wanted to do, kept switching majors and stuff like that, and I didn't know what I was doing with my life. Storytelling has always been something that I've done as a hobby for myself. I would write my own stories, but I always kept it to myself. And I remember one time I didn't go to class one day, and I was in bed, and I was just scrolling through YouTube, and I came across Domix. I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Woo!
Also
a proud member of the Channel Frederator Network.
I came across some of his videos. Specifically, it was his breakup series, and I was watching it, and I was like, oh my God, this is such a cool way to tell stories. I want to do this too. But there was one little problem. I had zero artistic background. My first avatar for my first video, my shoulders were drawn like misaligned like that, and I thought it was beautiful. I was so proud of myself, and I just kept going at it because I had fun doing it, and I just kept doing it. I got better with art. I still have a long way to go, but I'm improving, and yeah.
So to kind of give some advice to the people in the audience, what should you expect in the early days of your channel, and like, you know, how should you handle things when you're first starting out?
Don't get discouraged, because I think a lot of people like go into it, because I mean there are kind of those stories and like kind of what we're talking about, like how we put out a video and like it blows up and it kind of gets popular, and that's kind of how we get some traction. But like your first video probably isn't gonna get 100,000 views or, you know, more or anything like that. But like post your video, you know, try and build an audience, and then keep working at it. You know, you're not gonna get a bunch of views, but like as long as you're enjoying what you're talking about and having fun doing it, it's gonna be really easy to keep working on videos and keep up that, you know, that progress.
That too, and plus people can really tell when you're not passionate about what you're talking about. Like sometimes when I'm really tired in a video, if I recorded like and I pulled an all-nighter or something, people will tell, like they'll be like, hey, are you okay? Like in the comments, and they'll be able to tell automatically if you're not passionate about what you're talking about. And if you're passionate, you're likely to draw more people to you. So it's important to not be I guess like a trend chaser. Like it's important to go after trends, but you also don't want to like force yourself to do it, if that makes sense.
You don't want to rely on it.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to rely on it. But yeah, going off of what she was saying, you definitely you don't want to get discouraged, because it's going to take a while to build up those views, and it's going to take a while to get those followings that you want to get.
Technology does not make the artist. Like there are people who are like, I need the best computer, the best microphone, the best equipment. But if you don't have the ideas to back them up, they're worthless. So like, don't beat up on yourself if you have like, I started off with a $10 microphone and like Movie Maker from Windows. I'm like, I'm making videos. And you start somewhere. You look back after a while and you see like how it's a learning process. You will make mistakes. You will look back in your old content and cringe. I do it all the time. I still do from last week. But you will, it's like, becoming a master of a craft, and don't be hard on yourself. Like, give yourself room to make mistakes, to accept the mistakes, to learn from them. That's the most important part. And you will climb that ladder, and the ladder ride never ends. Like, you never reach a point where you're capped out. Like, always keep challenging yourself. Even if you make it to the top, there still goes beyond the clouds. So keep going.
Be confident, definitely. Don't, like, I feel like when you're starting out, you may naturally restrain yourself, but just believe in yourself as much as you can, because your audience will be very appreciative of that, and they'll be more supportive of your content. And it's like, yeah, like, this person's like really into it, and like they know what they're talking about. Because just from my own experience, like starting off making Steven Universe theories, I mean, it's like laughably bad now. But at the time, I was really into this. But essentially, when the character Bismuth was like about to premiere, people figured out quickly that like this one gem in a flashback was a bismuth because they looked into like the gemstone. Then I looked at them like, oh, okay, bismuth is a man-made crystal, and this gem was berserk on the battlefield when they poofed lapis. So what if Rose made bismuth as like a gem experiment, and Steven will be like a big brother figure to him? So I made a video like bismuth is Steven's brother, but and then like a month later, the episode aired, and like she's just like a gem from the war, and I'm like, but because I was confident in my ideas, a lot of people like supported and believed that theory, and it did well. Like, and I'm still happy that I made it. I'm happy that like I was confident in my ideas enough to put that out there, because you know, like, even if it was turned out to be correct or something like you look back and cringe on, it was still a founding step in where I am now. So definitely, like, obviously this doesn't just apply to theories, but whatever you do, like, be confident and have fun with it. I think that's like one of the most instrumental things to making content, because when you make content and you're not confident in your ideas or you're not passionate about it, yeah, like, it won't come out as good. Like, even if it does like well in views, it's like, okay, that can only get you so far if you're not enjoying it, because it's like your hobby or your career. So you need to enjoy it.
Yeah. Do you have, or any of you have any like horror stories from the beginnings of your channels, or any things that you wish you knew then that you know now?
This one entity that just haunts me to this day. It's called YouTube. Strikes, and claims, and horror stories. I mean, like, nothing like terrible. I mean, legit though, YouTube is tough to work with, and you have to understand that they're going to do what they can to protect themselves from copyright, which is why they're so strict with copyright to this day, and they will continue to be strict. And there'll be moments, I see a lot of this, people are like, oh, I got copyright claimed with the video, what do I do? And I'm like, join the club, man. Like, this happens all the time, and you have to, like, again, it's a learning process. You learn, okay, I have to leave this footage out or chop it this way. And you'll get the hang of it. Sometimes, like YouTube, like the company that's copyright claiming is like, they will not negotiate. Nope. And you go, well, that's a wash, moving on. That's the good thing about what we do. There's no cap to how much content we can make. Like, and there'll be days you're like, that's it, I'm out of ideas. But the next week you're like, I have 40, you're writing it down. Write down stuff, by the way. But yeah, definitely. I mean, just dealing with YouTube, getting used to the flows of it and how it operates and how you can make it work to your advantage and avoid like train wrecks where you're like, my hour-long video, it's blocked everywhere. Great.
I would say not put, like, it's important to put effort into a video, obviously, but I would say don't go overboard, because at least like in terms of a video succeeding well, ultimately it does boil down to like the topic itself, how you present it, and just like how you market it. But there have been times where like any of us at the Roundtable put like a lot of time into a video, like editing, making sure like it looks good and the script is good and the audio is good, and then it doesn't do well. But then like this video that took like 3 hours to make is doing amazing.
It's my line art of my art.
Definitely, I think the word I'm looking for is efficiency. Just be as efficient as possible without being too flashy or overboard, because I think efficiency pays off more than having like the Mona Lisa of videos on your channel.
I thought the Mona Lisa was Da Vinci's best upload, to be honest.
I feel like there's a balance there. Like, I've heard, like, even in animation, like, there's a certain, like, approach to making content where, like, they'll make content that's just kind of easy to make. Like, a certain episode that's just, okay, we wrote this in, like, an hour, and it's just, we can put it together, and it'll be easy to get through the line, and then they'll do that so they can spend more time on something else that maybe won't be as successful, but they can be able to point back to it and be like, I was proud of that.
I think one thing is knowing that you won't be able to appease to everybody. Not everybody's gonna like your content. I'm seeing this a lot in our community, especially. There's this like big debate about constructive criticism versus hate, to the point where people try to implement every single advice or whatever comment that they get, and their content just ends up flipping like completely different than what they started out with, and it's not them anymore. And then you see these people like get discouraged and they don't want to do it anymore because it's, you know, constructive criticism is good and great, but only accept the ones that you think will benefit you and your channel, because at the end of the day, it's your project, it's your passion, it's your work, you know. So.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to transition to this part. Like, how do you stand out on the platform, especially without selling your soul or just attaching yourself to trends or, you know, whatever you said, Chili?
I feel like it really is just that. It's really just you have to be able to distinguish what criticism you're actually going to take. Because I've gotten criticism since the beginning of like me making videos on YouTube, where some of it just feels like, okay, if I did that, I would be giving up some part of the soul of what is in my video. And I've done it before. Like, I've just been like, okay, a lot of people are saying I should do this, and at the end of the day, I'll make a video like that, and I'll be like, I'm not proud of this. Like, it's not what I would make. So it really comes down to you have to decide what aspects of what you're making are actually important to the overall construction of yourself and how you present yourself. And you have to be able to stick by that, but also realize where you can work around that to get better, because you have to change to get better.
I would say with most creative fields, you're going to be your own worst critic no matter what you're working on. You're going to look at something and like you could show it to somebody else and they're like, oh, it's great. And you're like, no, this is horrible. It sucks. And you know, you kind of got to look at it from like, okay, well, you know, I'm viewing this, and you're going to obviously critique yourself much harder than anybody else. I mean, you know, if you're getting views and you have people saying like, hey, this made my day, like, I love watching your channel, like, I love your videos, like, you know, you kind of forget about that part, but you have to remember those people, because those are the people who are coming to your videos every single day and leaving the likes and leaving the comments. And you know, and they like you for you and the content you make. So I mean, kind of like Tom was saying, you know, you got to kind of figure out what you want to bring to the content that you make, and then once you find that and kind of find that thing that the audience identifies with, build upon that. Just try not to, like, you know, beat yourself up about it. With any creative field, it's really easy to beat yourself up over it, but you know, just enjoy what you do, be yourself, and yeah.
Kind of adding on to what Rose was saying, it's very easy to get caught up in the negative comments that you're getting and not appreciating the positive ones. That happens with me a lot. Like, I'll be going through and I'll get like one bad comment and I'll forget about the 10 other ones that I got before that. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have the same
Good
thing.
job. You stink.
Yeah. And then you get one that just says you suck, and you're like,
where's my cookies? I'm going to the shower.
I'm gonna go get my tub of ice cream and just sit in the shower and sulk for an hour. But it's important to take the time to look at the good things just as well as the bad. Like, yes, it's important to get the criticism that people are giving you, but it's also important to see what people like about your channel and what makes your channel unique, because if you're too busy focusing on the negative, then one person may hate something that you're doing and 10 other people may love that thing that they don't like. So you really have to pay attention to both sides.
So,
I was going to add one thing. Another big thing, I guess, that really determines how things pan out, and that's not a reference to Rebel Taxi, is what is your end game? What's your end game? What's your goal? Because there are, like, I see so many channels and people, half of them just
go
my subscribers. I'm sorry.
I don't feel well, Mr. Stark.
That's YouTube's ass. But I was going to say, though, because there are people who have channels and they're completely content with their audience, where it's not to make it a career, but just to have fun, and they realize the audience they have, because it's like, okay, I cater to a very specific group, like, okay, Warhammer 40K. I follow some YouTube channels that do that. And you don't really see those channels pushing 1 million subscribers, but they've got like maybe around tops 100,000 or so. But those viewers, each one is like worth 100, and they love it and support it, and they realize how, like, oh yeah, this is my thing. Versus like, no, I'm gonna do a prank channel, which the pool of people you're working with is a lot more. And also, it depends on what you want out of it all. Like, hey, I do want to make this a career. How can I, like, maximize my luck to work with the trends? Be also, follow my passion, do something that means a lot to me. And it's a balancing act. And in typical fashion, when you're working with people, oh my God, accidents happen. But I spilled my water. My water broke. But honestly, though, like, you're working with people, and people are unpredictable. You know, you got different age groups, different, all kinds of people who are like, oh, I like that, I don't like that, and you're kind of just feeling it out. So it's difficult.
Something I do want to say, it's not as inspiring or touching, but in terms of like standing out and also tying back to criticism, do not be afraid to clickbait. I say this as someone because whenever you make like a remotely visually interesting thumbnail or like, you have like a red arrow or something for like, clickbait, like what am I supposed to do?
You'll never believe.
Well, the reason why I say that's because if you put effort into something, you obviously want it to be seen, and your thumbnail is I think you need to, your thumbnail justifiably is going to be interesting, and it should reflect what you're talking about. So if that requires, photoshopping together something to look interesting, it sounds like a defense, but honestly, this is just straight facts right here. Yeah, you need to just stand out and, make your presence like known and create something that is just cool to look at, and like if it catches eyes, and like congratulations, you did exactly what the thumbnail's supposed to do.
That's like half the battle. It's
Yeah.
like, over here, his rose quartz allergic to flowers. Or something.
Next time I'm crystal clear.
Come on in.
It doesn't mean you lack integrity. It doesn't mean that you're selling out. Like, put those red arrows, put boobs in the thumbnail, do whatever you want to get that video.
To quote Captain America, whatever it takes.
Yeah,
whatever it takes.
But like also at the same time, I think it's important to also like make sure that you at least include, the topic that you're bringing up in your thumbnail. Steven Universe, does he spell his name wrong? And you don't even talk about his name because it should be spelled with a PH. I'm just saying.
Like, if your thumbnail has like a dead Steven and you don't talk about Steven guy in the video, then like don't do that.
Yeah, you don't want to deceive the viewer.
Yeah.
So to move along, Chili, did you have
Oh,
something
I just
to
had
say?
one thing to say in terms of standing out. I don't know if you guys see this in your community, but for us, there's like a lot of people now trying to join the storytime community. And what I see a lot is what they'll do is they'll follow like what's already doing good, like talk about their first job or school stories. And it's fine to play it safe like that because they do well, but don't be afraid to experiment. I can't tell you how many times I've had ideas or story topics that I've wanted to do, but I hesitated. I'm like, oh, nobody's done this. I don't know if it'll do well or whatever. But then somebody else does it, and for the first time, and it does super well.
That's gotta be frustrating. My first root canal.
I'm just like, oh man. So especially if you're starting out, don't be afraid to experiment. Like if you have some idea that nobody's done before, just do it. Go
Believe
for
in
it.
yourself.
Believe in the me that believes in you.
What's that from again? The believe in yourself?
Gurren Lagann.
Oh, yes. I should watch that.
So once you do start to garner some viewership, that morning you wake up and all of a sudden your video is at 100K views and you're like, oh wow, I'm successful at this. How do you maintain that? What do you do in those early days of that success?
I mean, that still happens to me. So I'll wake up, I'm like 100K. No, well,
that's a good day. I want y'all to know, like, we're talking about 100K, and we're like, it's nothing. Reality, it's like, thank God they're still here.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I can keep doing this.
If we get 100K, we're sitting there refreshing to see how further up it goes.
Exactly. 101.
Sprint to Patreon, begging for money.
Hey guys, here's my SoundCloud.
Right, this really blew up.
In terms of keeping momentum, just be consistent. I think that's like the most important factor is that if something works, like, without forcing it out, just try to be as consistent as possible. And not even like, when I say consistent, I don't even mean like upload every day, but like if you've been uploading every day and you find success with that, and like if you can maintain that, then do it. But like if you've been uploading like once a week and that works, keep doing that, or even like once a month, there are content creators who upload like every
Once
other
a year,
month.
JonTron.
Yeah, exactly.
Or what I've learned with my personal channel, if you cannot stick to a schedule, don't promise that you're going to stick to a schedule.
Yes.
Just say it'll
Don't
come out when it
promise
comes out.
things.
I don't owe you anything. But please watch.
But yeah, I definitely think consistency goes hand in hand with momentum, because the audience you build will be reliant on that consistency to figure out just like, hey, I really like this person's content. When and where do I consume it? And if they have like at least that time frame, you know, it doesn't have to be like at this precise time every day or like this certain day of the week.
I feel like
within like a few hours of like a certain time frame, maybe.
I feel like you're like, you know, follow the trend, but try something new. Don't be too clingy, but give them some space, but chase after them. And ultimately, I wonder what y'all think. How much of it comes down to just luck? And just be like, oh my
Like
God,
most of it.
you got lucky.
As we all know, the YouTube algorithm is a cruel mistress.
I might show you on the suggested bar. I might kill your channel tomorrow.
I definitely think it also depends on like what the topic is for your channel. Like, because I know like some storytime YouTubers, they can just like make a video about breathing and get like 1 million views.
I breathe.
I was like, we'll talk about cartoons. If I'm just talking about like a show I don't usually talk about, it's definitely like more luck based. But like if a new Steven Universe like trailer comes out, people are going to be anticipating like that Roundtable breakdown and that Slice of Otaku breakdown,
build on
that
that.
Leia C breakdown. So, yeah.
You build on it.
So it really does depend. Like it's luck. It's like where your content is, the audience, so.
Timing too, probably.
I have not made a video about breathing yet, but if you do see some sort of growth happening there, don't sleep on it because the algorithm will be promoting your stuff. So make sure, don't obviously put effort into the video, but don't sleep on it. Don't wait too long to get your next video out.
It's
because,
constantly changing.
You have to grind off of that momentum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, to speak, I guess, like a little bit as a talent manager, I had a channel one day come to me. He was like, I made a part 2 to this video that got me like 5.5 million views, and the second one didn't do as well. I was like, okay, when did you do this part 2? He was like, a year later.
What will happen in Infinity War? Endgame came out. You missed it.
I think the bad guy might be Thanos. Not sure yet.
It's Grimace.
All right. No spoilers at this panel. Just kidding. So we talked a lot about what you're doing in your bedrooms or your studios or wherever you're recording your things. What's happening with you online when you're working with, dealing with, communicating with your fans, and then also other YouTubers as well? Like, how is it like communicating with fans and then?
Well, I will say one thing I think everyone on this panel can agree with.
No.
Hear me out.
Yes.
The comment section can be trash.
Yes.
It can be hot doo-doo garbage.
Hot doo-doo garbage. My new
That being said, I look to more like Twitter and Instagram for fan interaction.
Yeah.
Because as like we said earlier, like that one mean comment can stick out. But some people just live to just be like trolls on YouTube. Like, this guy sucks.
You will forever, amen, find people who will hate you, and you can literally make the perfect content, and that's still enough for someone to come and screw you. There will always be mean comments, and the challenge is discovering, because at a certain point, I'm numb to it. I'm like, I'm fat, whatever, let's move on. It's like, but I want to talk about the video, let's talk about the content. I'm looking for the constructive stuff, because like there will be.
What do you mean that's constructive? Just change your face. I don't like looking at it.
Sponsor. No, but legitimately, like you're right. The Twitter, there seems to be a better group or pool of people who are a bit more dedicated followers who are like, no, I want to follow you on Twitter or Instagram. You're like, oh, cool.
I always put like a call to action for whatever topic. I'm like, what are your thoughts? Like, tweet this to the Roundtable Twitter or my Twitter. And I do like having like interactions with fans on those platforms, even if it's not like a full-blown dialogue. If I don't get to everyone, it's just building that audience. And it's like, here's like where you can find me because again, like I'm not really like living in the comment section.
Get you killed.
Yeah, but it's you definitely got to encourage people to like reach out.
Yeah.
And of course, there may be times where like you may not feel like responding, or you may feel like a bit overwhelmed. But definitely just like what you're most comfortable with, like put that out there in your video. Like if you want to contact the content creator, like here's how.
Yeah. And if we ignore you. We promise we see your message. We just may not have like the time
to get back
to
everybody.
you.
That sucks, right?
Yeah, it
Always have
does.
an
We
answer.
want to get back to everybody, but you know, when you have like over 100,000 people watching you, you may not have the time, but we do appreciate whenever we get like a nice message or a nice email.
I have a question for you guys. Like, do you also consider yourselves like average Joes? We're just
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
I can't stress it enough. Like, this is a cool thing about like the rise of internet culture and entertainment is we're from, we sit in the audience. I go to panels and I'm sitting in the audience listening to what other content creators have to say. We're not better. We're not like,
No.
We're just like, oh my God, that worked. Oh my God. Yeah, we're so lucky. And just kind of be like, we still know our roots of like, we know that we're lucky. We know that we have to work at this. And we know that like when I see people post like art of my character and I miss it, I'm crushed. I'm like, no, you mean a lot to me. Every person's an individual and I want to make sure you know it.
Yeah, like I literally, like I'm not even joking, I cry whenever I get fan art. I'm like, oh my gosh.
The
Like
stick figure and it's like, oh,
yeah, no, literally somebody drew me a stick figure once. It was like somebody who was like 5 and their parent like emailed it to me. And I
that's
literally,
adorable.
I feel like I'm kind of like a mom because I printed it out and I put it like in my room and I was just like, I'm keeping this here forever.
I love that.
Yeah, it's like the cutest thing.
You know?
But like, huh?
There you go.
Okay. Well, just getting back to like the thing of like interacting with your fans, I do polls after all of my videos. So whether it be like a theory video, I'll ask people what they thought was like the best part of what the theory was, what was the most believable. And I really think that people really enjoy the polls after every video because usually if I don't post them, I'll get a bunch of comments like, where's the poll? Where's the poll? And I'm just like, okay.
I'm working on it.
I was like, I'm working on it. I was on the plane. I'm sorry. But it's good to let people have a voice on your channel because then you have like a sense of a community. And I really want to build a community where all of my fans feel safe and feel like they can talk to each other. And I kind of also have that in my Discord too. My Discord for my channel, there's so many people in there, like from a bunch of different backgrounds, and it's always nice to have everybody talk on there, and it's a nice and safe space in there. So,
Yeah, can I take it?
No, go ahead.
Okay. For us who do like reviews and theories and stuff like that, I mean, it's important to pose a question to start that conversation in the comments section or on Twitter. So like always pose a question. But kind of piggybacking off what you were saying with like Average Joe, with conventions like these, especially since a majority of us don't show our faces on our videos, like we are just as excited and nervous to meet all you guys at these conventions. Like it is just as nerve-wracking as an experience for us as it is you guys.
It's
so
a
that's
shock to the system.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people who are like, oh, I watch your content, thank you so much. I promise you guys, those words mean everything to us.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
funny when people say thank you because it's like I want to say thank you.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
thank you for like watching this garbage. You know, it's like thank you so much. It means everything to us.
When
so thank
fans come up to me and they're like all nervous and shaking, I'm nervous and shaking more than them. I'm just like, oh man.
you. Can I get a picture with you? Why?
I feel awful whenever somebody asks me to sign something. I'm like, why? I'm like devaluing this. Like, you have this beautiful piece of artwork, and I'm like, why do you want this on this artwork?
I had a viewer.
Thank you. Who said that? I don't even know who said that.
I had this sweet viewer. He came up. He said he wanted my signature, my social security number. It touched me.
The free numbers on the back of your card.
Right? Those weird numbers. I don't know what they mean.
I'll never forget last year. Me and Shane just went to Taco for lunch, and like it was just Taco right by my house, and I was just like a mess. My hair was not like neat or anything. I haven't shaved. Like my beard was just all over the place. So we're just standing inside, like because we decided to go inside, and I'm just standing there, and I just hear like this high pitched voice. Are you a YouTuber? Then I look down, and it's like this 7-year-old girl, and I'm like, yes. And then she's like, are you ordering bombs? And I'm like, yes. And then in my head, I'm like, I should have did my hair. No, you can't see me in this state. And then she had her dad take a picture of me and Shane, and I just felt kind of awkward because I looked like a mess. I felt like that scene in Spider-Man: Homecoming when Peter and Michelle are having Liz are getting their picture taken, and Vulture's taking a picture, and Peter's looking at him all hostile. He's like, oh God, you're the Vulture. That's how I felt basically. I'm like, this dad's probably judging me hardcore right now.
I have a quick story. So I went to a wedding with my girlfriend for her friends, and it was the end of the night, and I'm sitting at a table with some other of her friends and a little brother who looked to be about maybe 10. And everybody's inebriated except for me because I was a designated driver. And my girlfriend's friend was like, hey, Ryan, did you know that you're sitting at the table with Saber Spark? And this kid's like really into Fortnite. And I'm like, oh God. And I looked at him and he's just sitting there like this. And he goes, I felt so small. I was like, I didn't even ask for this. So that's another thing. To those who do find popularity, because this happened to me early on, it's a little shock of like, huh, I'm famous. You mean stuff to the viewers who watch you, that's cool, but it's relative to like, I mean, I recently learned about the beauty YouTube side of the community of like, people with 15 million subscribers. I'm like, I've never heard of you. And not to say that what they do is not important, but it's just, again, it's relative to like, I didn't know that, so just keep it in check.
Hope none of you have any gummy vitamin sponsors.
No.
Super controversial.
Well, they do taste delicious.
I do want to ask you all, you all pretty much have pretty solid brands on your channel, especially with you, Kevin, talking about how you had to place content, not even just on YouTube, but on other platforms as well. I guess I want you to talk briefly about how important it is to like brand yourself and brand your channels, and when you decided to like make that a priority for yourselves.
Yeah, I definitely think having just like key things where people can connect you to like your channel, your
like
brand.
a visual.
Yeah, it's important. Like we have the Roundtable logo. We have a certain like spacey aesthetic to our videos. Yeah, I mean,
if people can connect you to a feeling or a visual, then you basically have them hooked. Because especially if it's something vague like space, where people can just look at it, and if they're a big enough fan of you, they're always going to think of you.
Also helps with merchandise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, like, I feel like catchphrases, like openings and closings, if you have
Yeah.
something that you like always say when you open or close a video, that's always really important, because then people, like, if they click on your video, they automatically know that's you. So I would say, like, come up with a saying that you would open and close a video with.
Like Frederator loves you.
Yes.
Like Frederator loves you.
Frederator likes me.
Another good example, how many of you in here know Markiplier and Jacksepticeye? Yeah, so those guys, I am a huge fan of them, and I don't know if any of you guys have this experience, but I catch myself saying their outro constantly. Like, even in my own videos, I'll like say Markiplier's bye-bye, and I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, that's Markiplier's outro. But yeah, it definitely is important to have like your own catchphrase or like your own personality that people can kind of relate to you with. It makes you more recognizable, and it doesn't get you like caught like, oh, it's just like one of those YouTubers. You're not like caught, you stand out a little bit.
It's because we like building circles of like familiarity, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I feel like I belong to this one. It's like, you know, because there are the casual viewers who are like, okay, bye. And those who are like, no, I want to be part of the gang, you know, I want to be like on the inside jokes. So you got to add like different levels to it for the casual viewers and for those who are a bit more interested.
All right, so what are some like super useful resources that you guys have now that you take advantage of, or that you wish you had in the beginning? What are some key things that, you know, people in the audience who are thinking about starting a channel should invest in early on?
TubeBuddy.
yeah.
That's like my lifesaver. So basically, for those of you who have never uploaded a video to YouTube, there's this tagging system that lets the algorithm or people who are searching a video find your videos, because you know you enter certain phrases. And this extension TubeBuddy basically gives you the most important, the most searched tags, and it's a lifesaver, because otherwise you're going through there and you're like trying to type something and you're like, oh, I don't know if this would fit there, you know? So that's like the most useful tool that I've been using recently. And also, of course, Photoshop for thumbnails as well.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about thumbnails earlier, but thumbnails are huge because, you know, if you're trying to get more people to watch your channel, you want that thumbnail to bring people in. It's the first thing that they're going to see for your video before they even watch the video. So you want to, like, work on your Photoshop skills a lot. Networking with other content creators is huge for collab opportunities. You also want to do that. But yeah, definitely Photoshop and collabing with other people.
Hey, Frederator.
Yeah, but it's
MCNs help. Make sure you research. I've actually been with Frederator longer than these guys have been working with Frederator. They're the reason I'm actually here. I didn't even know about this con until they brought it up to me. They've helped me with countless opportunities, and yeah.
Aw, thanks, Chili.
Epidemic Sound's another service that my members just pay for through Frederator that I wish I had from the beginning, where instead of using copyrighted music or having no music in videos, it's royalty-free music. And they all sound great. Like, I always get comments and tweets like, what's the song in the video? And I'm like, oh, wait, what is it? And I feel awkward just saying, well, there's this website, you know, you can pay for a subscription and test your luck to find it. No, but that's a very helpful tool. And it does, like, help avoid any copyright problems down the line, because, you know, like, on the off chance, like, one day Cartoon Network's like, oh, I see you subtract from Steven Universe in one of your videos. We're gonna,
It's time for Turner to come in and get that sweet, sweet revenue.
Hasn't got a view in like 2 years.
Or if a certain company decides that you did use their sound and you don't know where or how they would even own it.
Right,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
some
that's
random
happened
person.
before.
The thing about Epidemic Sound that's really great is like how many times have you clicked on a YouTube video and it's like that stupid xylophone music on like every YouTube video ever?
And they type in that box.
Right, and so the nice thing about Epidemic Sound is that there is such like a huge list and genre of sound effects, music. There's like fantasy music, sci-fi music, like music that's used in like action trailers and stuff like that. So you have like such a wide range that you just cannot get on the YouTube audio library. And you'll also stand out because you're not gonna have that dumb xylophone music on all of your videos. You're gonna have some like really awesome, like well-composed music. So that's something that's really nice to have.
That's great. How many people in the audience have YouTubes?
Yeah, boy.
That's great. How many of you are thinking about starting a YouTube? Okay.
Do it.
Very cool. So I think I'm gonna look over to our wonderful MomoCon engineers. We wanted to open it up to a Q&A. Is that mic set up and ready to go? All right, cool. So if anybody has questions, I guess form a line over there at that mic in an orderly fashion, please.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, 1 second.
Do we only have one on one side?
Oh my goodness.
That's true.
I think everybody has
I'll come over and grab your question.
Let's make her first.
Yeah. 1 second. Great job, y'all.
Oh wait, Cosmo. Was Vale just sitting behind and you didn't know?
Yeah. I think they're gonna kick us out at 3:30 anyway. Yeah. I got you.
Okay, so our first question comes from RK, who's sitting over here, and she kind of wanted to get your guys' opinions on mature content, whether that be like cursing, language, subject matter, and like how do you handle that? Is it worthwhile doing, given YouTube's regulations and stuff?
I would say in the current climate of YouTube, I definitely wouldn't go into the channel with like a main appeal of you being like swearing or cursing. Like it's occasion time, I guess, where we'll like drop a video of mine, but usually I'm able to refrain from that pretty easily because I'm just talking about like TV shows and theory, so it's not really like a reason for that to come up. But discussing like more like mature topics, because that's such like a varied spectrum. I would say as long as you can handle that with like grace and respect and about a way that YouTube would almost look like the bad guys for taking it down, then I think you should go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say definitely if there's no need for you to swear, just don't do it. Like if I have a scripted video, I never swear in any of my scripted videos. And that's mainly because I cover cartoons that are mostly for younger kids, and I don't want like their parents to be like, oh, you're watching this person who's like swearing, and there's really no need to do it. Like if I have an unscripted video, I might swear, but I don't do it intentionally. It's just because it's how my vocabulary is.
Mm-hmm. And there are also certain words that bypass YouTube that they're fine with. I think you know what they are. You can probably say them on cable, but the ones that you can't could possibly get your video demonetized, especially if you use them within the first 10 seconds of the video.
It's just not worth the headache. Just
No.
avoid
Yeah.
it. Move on. You know?
I wish there was
Shelley,
a better
did you
way
have-
to integrate it.
I mean, my channel's pretty PG, but I know there are some people in the community. I don't know if you guys know Tabs. Swearing is part of her personality, and that's just how it works fine for her. And in terms of mature topics, there are also some people who start exploring that. There's like Elimination. She handles stuff like sexual abuse and stuff like that. So as you mentioned, like as long as it's handled gracefully, I think if you're wanting to explore it.
Cool. So let's take our first question from the line. Tell us your name and ask your question.
My name is Tariq. Now, this isn't a question per se. This is just a personal experience because I do have a YouTube channel. This is just for people who are starting off. When I started, it wasn't really perfect at all. I was just like everyone else. I wanted to know how to start my own content, so I just randomly posted at the time. And to me, I was the lucky ones to start off on the computer. I actually started off on a phone with an app called KindMaster. And just from that moment on, I didn't get any views, I didn't get any reputation. I kind of felt bad. But luckily I had a friend who gave me a laptop, and I was just like, man, this will actually bring me up. And it did. I just started making content off of that, and then once I made this specific video, I realized my YouTube channel just went up. And as of now, I'm at over 900 subscribers. I'm almost reaching 1,000. I'm just like, man, I think I found out what I want to do.
So keep it up, man.
Yeah, keep going for it.
What's your channel real quick before you?
It has a couple symbols in it, but it's mostly Emerald Zero. It's like the topic of the story is just like, it's possible. It doesn't matter what you do it on, how you do it, anything's possible. Just like, it just takes time and effort, and once you find out what your content is, once you find out how many more people comment on that, you gotta go for it. Because once you start different, then people are gonna be asking, where is this or where is that? When is this happening again? Then when you find out you get less of that, you realize you gotta go back to what you were doing before.
It's awesome, man.
Thank you, man. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, my name's Thomas. Big fan of your favorite Sparks, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I have a YouTube channel. It's at 26 subscribers right now, but I wanted to make my unique by basically going over past games and stuff like that. I do have one question though. If you use screenshots of a trailer and do break down instead, will you still get copyright strike?
Screenshots help a lot more than using actual video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from my experience, screenshots are completely safe.
Yeah, I haven't had any problems with screenshots. It's usually just video footage.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
to add on to that, it also depends on what it's a screenshot of. So if you're using a screenshot of a video game or a trailer, you should be fine. But if you're using a screenshot from, say, a comic book or a manga or a normal book, then you kind of get into some tricky territory because that screenshot in particular is telling the story and is the intellectual property. So it all depends on your subject matter. Always do your research before you use something that could possibly get you in trouble.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Braden. This is a question for Saberspark.
Yes.
What do you personally enjoy doing more? What the hell is videos or what ruined videos?
What runs are better because their video essays topics are a bit more, I don't know, just more range of what you can talk about and research. Because what the can I say hell? I just did. What the hell is just reviews? So it's opinion based. They can be fun with the weird and quirky stuff, but the what ruining. I don't know what to call it. Those are a lot more fun.
Yeah, I love the What Ruined videos.
Thank you.
I think it was What Ruined Cartoon Network was the first one I saw from you.
It's funny, I look back at those videos and I'm like, maybe I was a bit hasty.
Thank you.
So we've got 5 minutes, so if questions can kind of just keep it to one and just make it as snappy as you can.
Lightning round.
So I'm just starting out. Mostly what I'm doing with my channel is I'm just I don't want to come off as condescending or an a-hole, but I don't really care starting out what people are going to be interested in. I'm doing this more so for fun and just trying to get my content out and just show you what I'm doing pretty much. And maybe later on, if it catches on, then I'll start to cater to the audience. But I'm doing this for me first and foremost, and then for everybody else.
It's a good way to start it off. It's a good foundation.
So I appreciate that. My question is, with the networking, you guys mentioned, everybody mentioned earlier, how important is networking and getting, I'll just use an example. I've been watching MKBHD, Marquez Brownlee. He does a lot of tech, very clean videos, very nice. I watched another guy named Your Average Consumer, and he was at about 500,000, and then somehow it jumped all the way up to millions. And I've seen that collab between mentioning somebody's name and just all of a sudden they're at several million subscribers opposed to what they were half or a year and a half ago. So, but yeah, so the question is, how important is networking, and how do you establish that as far as making that connection with other YouTubers and getting them to, shout you out and do things of that nature?
I'll tell you right now, if it's just a direct email like, hey, shout me out, most of us would be like, no. But let it be organic and be like, hey, I like your content, and hey, maybe I make these videos if you want to check out and see if it's the same vein. In my experience, when it's organic and chilled out, because we don't really, I'd imagine most of us don't really react well to like, hey.
Yeah.
It's like, block.
Like someone posts sub for sub in the comments, I just delete it. So
I'd say just be nice, and if there's like a genuine relationship there that can be created, if you're just nice, it'll usually happen organically.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. My name is Avery Pearson. One thing I'm kind of get curious is that let's say make a review about a cartoon, but your opinion is negative. Do you ever worry about how the networks
So,
respond to that, or
a negative opinion about a piece of content, how a network would react to it?
Do you think that they might not hire you because
If they blacklist you or something like that?
I think as long as you're nice and constructive about it, I don't think they have a problem with it. It's like if you start going after the creators or doing like a smear campaign, that's when they start having the problem with
If you have legitimate critiques, that's one thing that happened to be negative, but I mean, it's like if it's definitely more of like a personal attack kind of a thing, then that's gonna be a no. But if you have general critiques on something, then you're fine.
Yeah, if you're reasonable, then it's usually cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we've got 2 minutes left, so we probably have time for 2 more questions.
My name is Abby. This is mostly for the Roundtable, just because I've watched them the longest, but I'd love to hear from as many of you as possible. What's your biggest hope for Steven Universe in terms of character arcs and development now that all the major conflicts have seemingly been resolved?
Jasper redemption arc.
Yes, for sure.
I just want to see them go full DBZ at this point. Just go crazy with the action and stuff.
I'm just interested because I feel a lot of the time shows just end kind of once the big fight happens.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see what they do with the season because we usually don't get that because at a finale you just kind of jump to the end and everything's great. So I'm excited to see what they do with the next season for that.
I ship Pearl and happiness. I just want her to be happy. So as long as she's happy, I'm happy.
I've never watched Steven Universe.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this is going to be our last question.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
Thank
By the
you,
way,
everyone.
you all can always approach us during the con and talk to us.
If you have any questions, feel free to approach us.
Come up to us.
Yes.
So my name is Brandon. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. So most of us, obviously, when we're starting out, we have day jobs. We're not doing it for money, right? So when I get home from work some days, it's really hard to find motivation. I'm just tired from the day, So besides money, what's do you guys have any tips for motivating yourself, hyping yourself up to actually go out, get the content done? Because it's a lot of hard work.
Just the idea of making certain content excites me.
Yeah.
And I just get really excited. Although I do think, if you just have any days off, maybe you want to put one of those days off to just work on content, even if it's just something small like writing an outline or recording. It's like take baby steps, but like it does have to come organically, like that excitement. Because sometimes I'll get a video and it's like, oh God, I want to talk about this now. So it just depends, but I definitely think like it'll just come to you naturally as you're making it. Like the more you get into it, the more excited you'll get until it's done.
I'd say just go in with a purpose and try and have fun, and that'll motivate you.
Yeah, that's what I try to do. I try to just. I'm sorry.
And besides that, for me also, like if I am lacking that motivation, sometimes I'll watch other videos from creators from the same community, and that helps a lot too. Sometimes like it just sparks that motivation. It's like, oh, they're uploading, I want to upload too.
Yeah. It also depends like your goal for what your goal for the video is. Like for me, if I'm making like a really sensitive topic and it's something that I want people to get something from, that will usually help me get motivated, because I also have problems motivating myself because I was going to school until I graduated recently, and it was like I was there for like 8 hours a day and coming home and then I'm really tired. But like for instance, I made a video on autism representation in the media, and that video was really important to me because it was supposed to teach people about themselves and teach people about other people. Exactly. So if you make something that's important to you that you want to educate people with, it helps you because you're thinking, oh, I don't want to do this, but it's going to help a lot of people and it will help you get through it.
That's a good video, too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So that brings us to a close. One more time, let's give it up for the Roundtable, Saber Spark, Rose's Universe, Toon Ruins, and Chili Panda, and of course to all of you. If anybody is interested in hearing more about the Channel Federator Network, I have business cards with me, so if you have a YouTube channel, you're a prospective creator, feel free to stop and ask for one. And of course, these guys will be down and about. Thank you so much for coming. And I hope to see you guys next year.
Also, me and Tom are in a rush, so if we ghost anybody, it's not personal.
Yeah. I actually have to run down to the autograph room because I'm late for it. So if y'all want to meet me down there,